So it's the sweetest name in seraph song. Even the angels love to sing about Jesus. And it's the sweetest name on mortal tongue as well. So even human beings would love to sing that name. And it's the name of Jesus, the blessed Jesus, who saved us from sin. Maybe we'll do one more song. Is there any choice from the congregation here? Yes. 103. Okay. 103. O God, our help. O God, our help. O God, our help in ages past. Okay. O God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come, our shelter from the stormy blast, and our eternal hope. Under the shadow of thy throne, still may we dwell secure. Sufficient is thine arm alone, and our defense is sure. Before the hills in order stood, or earth received her frame. From everlasting thou art God, to endless years the same. 1,000 ages in thy sight are like an evening gone. Short as the watch that ends the night before the rising sun. O God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come. Be thou our guide while life shall last, and our eternal hope. Amen, amen. As I think about this song, I think it's very applicable to us as medical missionaries, right? Because we do all the remedies that God has provided for us. We also do all kinds of treatment, but without God's help, there is no healing that will be received by the patients. So it's only God who you're working with in the lifestyle center, in the medical center, in the clinic. Without God's help, there will be no healing. Andy, are we good to start? Okay. So I'd like to invite Dr. Nikolai Dan, to start off the session for today. Do you want to have it as you speak, or are you okay holding the mic?
I think I'll do the mic.
Then I'll remove it.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I think I'm coming from a part of Romania where people speak quite slowly. They think a lot before they talk. So I'll try to speed up, and because we have quite a bit of material to cover. Today we will start talking about people, stuffing. This is the biggest headaches. Machine don't give so much headache like people, but you cannot do any. You cannot move without people. They are essential, and even God chose to do His work through people and with people, as weak as we are. This is the agony and ecstasy of a ministry, people. And you have to keep in mind that God came the best of the people at His wedding feast. But many of them are busy. So he turns to the highways, to the byways, and so these are the second hand, citizens. These are not the best, but guess what? He takes them and he changed them. Like the disciples. They weren't from the elite from Jerusalem, but after 3 years, everybody knew that they were with Jesus. And, after the Holy Spirit came down, then, they were much, much better, much knowledgeable than everybody in, of the, the Jerusalem, academia. So this is our staff. It's changing, not all the time. One of the blessings is that we were able to retain many of them. So that's a blessing, but it comes with any package, any human package is not perfect. As you age, you cannot do as much. You become older, you don't have so much power. So it's always good to have a mix of older and younger people. Young people bring always energy, and that's why, probably that's one of the reasons why the inspiration, recommended that wherever you have a lifestyle sanitarium, you should have some educational component, because then you will have young people there. Okay, when we talk about sanitariums today, it's any Adventist healthcare institution, regardless how one might call it. You can call it lifestyle center, health institute, sanitarium, hospital. All of them are sanitarium, Adventist sanitariums, provided that healing is bound up with the Gospel Commission, and all planning and decisions are based on this axiomatic vision. And so that's why the minute you have non-Adventists in the staff, it's becoming more difficult to do this. So by all means, wherever we can, we should have all Adventists, or at least in the position where you work with patients. I just want to remind you again about this quote. You are trying to plan the work so that you can embrace it in your arms. So the question is not how much we can do. The question is how best can we serve this country? What are the needs which are not covered? And we are encouraging a spirit of prophecy to cover. And then, together with the God, to make the plans. And again, I want to quote this promise that God has qualified his people, and he entrusted them with faculties to enlighten the world until encircle the world. And don't forget, you're engaged in a mission where God himself is interested. So it's one thing to start a business. I mean, you pray and you can believe that God will help you, sell shoes. I mean, you don't beat people, you don't kill people, you sell shoes, yeah. But it's entirely different when God said something needs to be done, and you are called to that, and you are engaged in that. You can count on him to be the counselor, the guardian. You see, everything is tied to everything. You cannot just say, well, I want a sanitarium just with 5 people, because I cannot afford more. That doesn't work like that. You really have to go through a cycle of thinking everything through. And one of the first steps is to look around you, because usually the call of God is about the need out there of people. And so you really have to be acquainted with the need. Because many times the call is not, it doesn't come with a tick book, with everything. That you just are called, but then, the details, you have to work out the details with God. And so the Bible said that sit down first and count the cost. When you want to build, when you want to go to a fight, and we actually, when we are called in the great controversy to go to a special fight. And so the Bible says that, yeah, we need to be bold, and young people are bold. The young people are not so aware about everything which can go wrong, like old people. I guess you observe that. Old people know about everything which can go wrong. But young people kind of oblivious to that. But still, you know, we need evaluation and planning. And you know, it's important to understand the culture, not to import models from United States or from Romania, but to look at them and to understand your culture. And that means how people think, how people relate, what are their expectations, how they think about the community, how they think about the individual. Local traditions, even in the food, you know, it's, you bring some food from Kenya to Uganda and they don't like it. So maybe you should alter the recipes from Kenya so that it's tasty for Ugandans. Local needs, local trends, local possibilities, local offer, health offer. So you should be aware what is out there. You should study the health system, what is offering the primary care, what are the bush clinic offering. And you know, you need to know all that. Because knowing that, you understand what is offered, and you don't need to replicate something which is going very well. We are called to do things which other people don't do, and you know, that people need, or they really need that. So you can, now with AI, you know, you can counsel on how to do these assessments very easily, and it's not a big deal. So determine what services you will offer. So that's very important, because while you do the assessment and while you understand what's out there, what are the needs, then you realize, okay, would be nice if we can provide these services, A, B, C, D. You know, you have an idea about all the services, but then you have to prioritize. Which are the most needy, those needs which cry out. And in the same time, those needs which maybe with fewer staff we can cover. Less equipment we can cover. So you do some priorities there. But nevertheless, it's very important to know where you go. Many people make a mistake by thinking very small. They don't think in advance. They just think, okay, this is there are 10 needs. We start with the first. We'll build for the first. No, we need to build for all 10 of them. Now there is an advantage in some of the climates, like probably here. In our climate, it's not easy to add things. And it's not so cost efficient to go on the land. I mean, to go on one floor. It's more efficient to go up because it's cold, and so it's easier to heat and so on. But in some of the climates, you know, really it's an advantage. You can go on floor, and then you can add things. But you really, in the beginning, you have to think about everything. You have to think about what you are going to do in 20 years. Because, you know, it's a pain to build something and then you realize, well, I have to take down in order to to do the next phase. Now, sanitariums, according with the inspiration, are complex ministry. So if you start reading counsels on health or medical ministry, you will realize these are complex ministry, complex institutions. Of course, modeled after Jesus' blended fourfold early ministry. You remember that teaching, preaching, healing, and relief. Having the following services and the subsequent need of complex staffing. It's a hotel. But of course, you know, it's more than hospitality service. It's much more than the Marriott down the line here. Food services, but it's more than a restaurant. medical services, acute or chronic conditions, mental, emotional health, psychological services, counseling services, religious, Christian, spiritual, about life meaning. Sometimes you cannot talk about openly, like, because maybe they are Muslim, but everybody understands life meaning. So you start from some basic human needs, which everybody has. And that draws you, I mean, inevitable to the main issues of life. Human maintenance resources, because your staff need maintenance. I mean, it's like in a war, in a sanitarium, it's the first line, where the battle is very fierce, and so those people need maintenance, because otherwise they will leave. And if people leave after 2 years or 3 years, they just learn. They just became efficient and they leave, and then somebody else who doesn't know come, and then you have to go through the pain to teach him again, and then after 2 years he leaves. So human maintenance resources, student training program, informal or formal. Informal, like, a short, light or longer medical missionary training, or formal, like we do nursing school. And then you have agriculture, ecological, fruit production services. So when you look at these, it's a very complex operation. You cannot do it in the back of your home. Just, Sister White took patients in, but she never called her home sanitarium. Yeah, Dr. Paulson is the one who coined this term home. He said that every Adventist home should be a sanitarium, but that was in a certain context, and he himself ran a sanitarium, I think in Hinsdale or where he ran. So let's not confuse. Home sanitarium is not a spirit of prophecy concept. That doesn't mean that you cannot do a home retreat. We are talking now about what the spirit of prophecy talks when it says sanitarium. So it's a complex institution, and that requires complex staffing. You cannot do all of these with 3 people and untrained. You can, well, those 3 people, maybe God can call them to do something like a home retreat, to rent a place and to do simple things. I'm not saying that they cannot do anything, but they cannot do this. So it's complex staffing, and when you read the books, Councils on Health Medical Ministry, especially, you see there are entire sections dedicated to these workers, successful institutional work, the Christian physician, section 7 in Councils on Health, nurses and helpers, administrator, all the rest. And then in medical ministry, the Christian physician and his work, fees and wages. I mean, when you talk about personnel, you cannot evade the fees and wages. The management of sanitariums. So here is management, administrators, how they should be, the profile of the administrators, the workers' health, what I talked about, maintenance of human resources. Battle Creek started with a physician, 2 nurses, and a lot of enthusiasm. So that's how they started, and they struggled in the first 10 years, and then after Dr. Kellogg came, it just took off. Nurses, PTs, physical therapists, psychologists, coaches, a program coordinator. Usually the program coordinator is the person who really organized the educational program. It's difficult for the physician to organize. The physician organized the health program, the health components of the program. But somebody needs to organize the educational, the lectures, the cooking classes, the program. And usually this person also is the interface with the patients, because sometimes patients complain. Not all the patients are nice. Some are ugly. But many times those who are at first, they are bad patients, many times they turn to be the best patients because they have something, it's a pain or something which bothers them, and then they blame it on you. Okay, that's the program coordinator. Then chef, cooks, very important. I don't know how people relate to food here in Kenya, Uganda, in Ethiopia, but that's something which it seems like people, if food is good, then life is good. Food is bad. Yeah, so very important. A good chef, a good cook, and of course. You might not have from the beginning, but it's good to have somebody with training in dietitian, nutrition, because now we live in the 21st century and there is a lot of knowledge. Somebody need to bring that knowledge into the team. And then chaplain, somebody to take care of the spiritual life in the institution, patients, staff. He's part of the maintenance force. Then administrator, manager. I mean, you need somebody with business understanding, because this is also a business. It's not just a ministry. And then you have the receptionist, a very key person. So be very careful, because these people can break or, make or break you. Because you don't really know what they do there, what they talk, but they can make or break you. So this should be best people. Should be good if it's somebody who is trained as a medical missionary work, he's trained, she knows or he knows all the treatments, because people will put questions. And these are the, many people call and they are not decided yet. So after this conversation, many of them will be decided if you have a good receptionist or not, if you don't. Or sometimes, receptionists can turn down people. Because, some people maybe, they wake up, a little bit with an ache today, and they are a little bit uneasy. And, if you take it personally, that's the end. But if you turn that, they really appreciate it. They say, well, this is special. We have one day, Sunday is when the patients come in. And Adi, our driver and purchaser, he does many more things. He brought this patient, and the patient said, I really would like to know the receptionist, because, she talked so nice with me. She convinced me to come, and she must be a special person. And Adi said, well, yeah, she's special, it's my wife. Yeah, but she's special, she's a nurse. She was a therapist, and now she's there, but she's doing a wonderful special work. So receptionist, cleaning. Oh my, cleaning. Is it important, cleaning? It's the first thing people see when they come. What do you do when you go to a hotel? You enter, you look, of course, you see the room, and what do you do next? What door do you open? Toilet. I mean the bathroom. And so what happens if you see black, fungus at the shower? What's your impression about that hotel? So no matter, if the receptionist is nice and they talk about Jesus and about these high things, but then there's fungus. They think that Jesus and fungus goes well. So very important, the people who do the cleaning. Actually, it's so important that in our institution, we decided that at the end of the year, all of us, including me, we have a special day when we all, 50 people, clean. We usually, my wife and me receive 2 rooms, and we clean every inch of the bathroom, every inch. So it takes one full day, and all the rooms. So This is a way to say to them that what they are doing is very important. It's very important, so important that each one of us can do it, and we do it. Maintenance. Oh, a good maintenance person, it's gold. It's gold. Somebody who knows, about the plumbing, about the electricity, it's his weight in gold. And then, purchasing, warehouse, somebody needs to purchase, to go out and purchase. Matron, you need somebody to be the mother of the house. Usually, the nature of the ministry and the nature of the patient count is that there are more women coming to these services. That means more women in the therapy, usually women in the kitchen. So there are more women generally in the institution. And let's say the president, usually the majority, it's a man. A man cannot really attend to the needs of the woman in the staff. And it's not safe in the same time to get very close, psychologically. So you need somebody, whether it's the wife of the president, whether it's the wife of the chaplain, whether it's a nurse, an older nurse, you need a mother, a matron. Because, as we all know, if our wives are happy, there is sunshine in the home. If they are not, well, I guess you're not married. You are? So you know what I'm talking about. But I guess, I don't know who is not married. Okay, you. Okay, IT, online marketing. Well, even if we work for Jesus, we need to let people know that we are doing that. And today, this is the way to let people know. In the past, you wrote in the papers or television, but today, you go to television is not big thing because, most of the people are on these. And there is a science of doing online marketing, so I think, that's important to connect, even if you don't have somebody on staff, but to have some friends who help with that. And then accountant, probably you don't need, in the beginning full-time, just part-time. So I guess everybody understands this is a complex operation, requires trained people to run it. So this is very important to understand, because if you think, well, start simple, start soon, there are the 3 S. Small. Jesus said, well, let's do it. But you don't plan on training the people, and then the kind of services you do are like that. Actually, this is a mistake to the 3 S, to employ it in such a way. The idea was in a business. Go through all the planning, strategic plan, everything, and see which is the smallest unit. I mean, in the hospital, there is the smallest thing, which you can do surgery. You cannot say, decide, this is what we have, we'll do surgery here. You cannot today. So it's like in the business. You go through everything, and then you discover that actually the smallest thing to be sustainable. Now I'm talking about this. I'm not talking about home retreat. Yeah, it's 30 beds. So that's starting small, starting soon, starting smart. Okay. In this. Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
When you talk about the team that is there, your experience, what are some of the stuff that you came to see as necessary over time? Like, what was the point where you decided that I won't have this full time, or rather I won't have it part time, I'll have it full time now? Like, how did you graduate to all the stuff that you currently have?
I'll show an example very soon, and that will answer your question, because you can consolidate. you see, I kind of outlined everything separately, but the guy who do the maintenance, maybe he can do also the purchasing and the warehouse. So you can consolidate in the beginning when the things are small. So when talking about team, the team and the people are kind of omnipresent in everything, which in all these steps. I mean, you don't do this alone. The preparation, when you study together, you study with a prospective team. People who feel like, okay, I'm interested in the idea, we are friends, and let's study about this. And as you study, then little by little, everybody clarifies, okay, it's for me, I'm in or I'm out. Then when you talk about vision and mission, you don't do it alone as a leader. You might have the greatest vision, maybe you see the farthest. That's a gift from God. But you want to bring all your people in. And so maybe initially you kind of spell out the vision, mission, but then you talk among the team, and together you arrive to the conclusion. And when you visit other explore existing models, experience, when you assess needs and opportunities, much better to do it with the prospective team, because they have to be in. If you do all the work and then they come and then you just give the paper, this is what we need to do, just do it, it's a little bit difficult. And usually in the beginning, the way teams are formed is that it's not like 20 people. It's a handful of people, several people, and they come together, and they are the pillars, the stable element around which other people come and organize. There are some essential principle. I thought of 10. You can, maybe there are 12, maybe are 9. And I just want to lay them down here for you, and you'll have them on presentation. I won't insist very much. Some things which are kind of important ingredients on gathering a team, forming a team, starting a lifestyle center. There should be a sense of high calling. I mean, there should be an inner sense that God called you. I mean, this is a spiritual experience, and it's a fierce battle. So if you are not sure about that, it's a problem, because you will bail out soon. Long-term vision and single-mindedness. So this is not a sprint, like you say 1 year for Christ, or no, 5 years for Christ, and then I'll get back to my plans. It doesn't work like that. By year 5, you barely understand what's going on. And then if you bail out, you'd say, why do you laugh about 1 year for Christ? Yeah. Another one is right size, sweet point, capacity for sustainability. So don't listen to people who say, well, you should start small, 20 rooms is too big, start with 5. They don't know what they are talking about. They might be good people, they might have good intentions, but they don't know what they are talking about. You have to look for the sweet point. And that's a lot of work. It's much easier to say, well, 6 room will start, and it pushes you to think and to begin to think like business, to understand. Okay, we'll start next month. Somebody has to cook 3 meals a day, 7 days a week, because patients don't go home Friday. They stay with you. So who, and you think, well, we 6 room, we are small, 1 person. It happens to be my wife. How much do you think your wife can survive cooking for 6 patients, but of course there is the staff. And you know, I don't know what when it's about food, the people multiply. So you know, let's say 15 people. How much do you think that your wife can cook day in, day out, 7 days a week? You know, month after month, and well, she cannot. And then you realize, well, we cannot really put back to back. So we'll do only one, you know, a month or one every 2 weeks because people get tired. Do you think that it's a good plan in which people work like crazy for 1 week or for 2 weeks and they are you know, sick and then they have to rest after? Is this the way the world is running? There's a wisdom looking at how the world is running. You know, they have a schedule which people can work every day, 5 days or 6 days. During the communists, we work 6 days. And the Bible says you should work 6 days. So they work 6 days, but they have 1 day rest. But they keep working. They have some vacation. And so the workload is such that they don't go sick after 2 weeks. So I think you have to keep in mind that when you build your program. So it has to be the right size. And I go back to the cooking. So that you realize soon, if I want to keep this running, I need 2 or even 3 because sometimes people go on vacation. I mean, not sometimes, always. They want vacation. And so say, well, you know, 6 rooms, 3 cooks. Well, the numbers doesn't work. I mean, I cannot afford 3 rooms. I mean, three cooks with 6 rooms. So you see, that's why you have to do all this before, not to buy the property and then to realize that, you know, you are bankrupt from the beginning with this kind of. So you do all this, and we'll go through this soon. A well-trained team. This is an essential principle, and that means that you have to think well in advance what kind of stuff you need, what kind of training you need, because maybe for some of them there is no training in your area. You have to send some in some other institution or somewhere, and sometimes the training can take quite a bit of time. Christ-centered whole person care. Well, that's very important. This is actually you know, what Adventism stood for, what Better Creek stood for. Christ-centered whole person care. Another principle is environmental concern and food sustainability. So that's why we you know, the council is to have a garden, to have agriculture, to be careful with the environment, not to cut all the trees, to plant trees, to make it nice. So then scientific ability, we read that yesterday. So you need to attract people who are balanced in this area. Understand spirit of prophecy, understand when Sister White talks about drugs. It was 19th century when, you know, drugs were poisonous. Most of them were poisons, not drugs. I'm not advocating, you know, in lifestyle medicine, in sanitarium work, I think first you have to think of the non-drug alternative. If there is non-drug, something which goes, it's about lifestyle change and or natural treatment or something, that's first. And then, you know, the last resort is you give drugs, or, you know, somebody comes with a high blood pressure and, you know, it's not time to do hydrotherapy. You give him something because, you know, there is this danger of a stroke. So that's why, you know, you need a physician to judge that. Good governance, management, and financial management. So this is essential when you set up your institution, the bylaws. So you really have to be informed to read the laws in your country about how these non-profits are established. I usually recommend, they are not very thick. Don't leave it only the lawyer. Read it. The founders should read the bylaws. and see, how they can fit their vision into the law. Good networking sense and ability, you cannot survive without networking. And then it's not the least, support the church and network with church in its vision. I put them in a different way here. But they are the same thing. You see, these are not just some theoretical thing. When you think about Christ-centered stage principle, this theology translates in daily practice, daily worship rituals. So you have daily moments when you worship, moments when you worship with the patients. Maybe they don't know it, but that's worship. Patient spiritual care protocols. Do we pray with each one of them? In our institution, we always, before a treatment, the nurse or the therapist asks, would you like to pray? We want to ask God to bless this treatment. So that's a protocol when it happens all the time. Ethical standards. What are the standards in our institution? Do we receive gifts from the patients? Do we receive money? In some cultures, in the hospital, you don't receive good care if you don't pay. And so this is the way things we will run in our lifestyle center. In Romania, that was the situation. So we made a strong point that we don't accept money. So people should be safe once they paid the registration. Everything is covered. They don't need to give anything else for us to be nicer to them. Compassionate hospitality. So this is beyond what Marriott or Hyatt can offer. Here I put some quotations for you about this initial stage where you study together. And usually God called this type of people who were studious, who read, and this institution in Counsels to Health, this institution, Sanitarium, needs men of thought and ability. The physicians, superintendent or manager, matron, and helpers should be persons of culture and experience. The physicians are not Quakers nor infidels, but men who understand the human system and the best methods of treating disease, men who fear God and who have an earnest interest for the moral and spiritual welfare of patients. God is displeased with those who are too careless or indolent to become efficient, well-informed workers. The Christians should possess more intelligence and keener discernment than the worldlings. The study of God's word is continually expanding the mind and strengthening the intellect. There is nothing that will so refine and elevate the character and giving vigor to every faculty and continual exercise of the mind to grasp and comprehend weight and important truths. This doesn't mean that you need to only study only the Word of God. I mean, as physicians or nurses, you have to read daily. I mean, daily to keep up with everything which is going on. So what actually means culture? The quality in a person or society that arises from a concern for what is regarded as excellent in arts, letter, manners, scholarly pursuits, health. A particular form or stage of civilization as that of a certain nation or period. Development or improvement of the mind by education and training. So there are some people who believe that Sister White said that we should read only the Bible and the Spirit of Prophecy, which is entirely false. She herself had a library at home. I mean, we read a lot. I mean, just think of how much we read in our phones, news or... So God calls in this institution people with culture. Okay, as you gather with your team, sooner or later you will have to define your vision and mission. You have to write it down. It's like I said, it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. Actually, it will most probably require your life commitment. It will be your life project. It won't be something on the side, something which you say, well, I'm doing this, but then I'll go back to what I like. That's why I stress single-mindedness, because this cannot be done on the side. And all this vision mission is based on the Bible, spirit of prophecy, and unbiased science. Now, I'm saying unbiased. I don't know how many of you saw the latest dietary guideline, visual dietary guideline for Americans. Have you seen it? Real food. Lancet, there was an editorial in Lancet and said this, what Americans did, put back the nutrition and science in America for 20 years. But, politician can't do that. What Mr. Kennedy did, there is an advisory, the best nutritionists are gathered, and they review in the last 5 years all the research on nutrition. And they were working when they came in 2024, when they were elected, Trump, and he elected Kennedy as the Health and Human Service Secretary. So he fired all this advisory committee, and he put his advisors. And you have to realize scientists are not angels, floating on the clouds of science and singing on their harps. There are people like you and me. They need a car. It better be a better car. They need a house. Better be a good house. And whenever people have those needs, and they are not. And today people don't kind of believe in God, so they are very viable. So they. Okay, I'm best science. As teams grow and work together, they sharpen the collective mission and vision. In our mission, we insisted to be, from the beginning, we had the word sacrificial, because we realized that this work cannot be done without sacrifice, one way or another. And, in our mission, there is this, to follow Christ's sacrificial model. Now, as you look at the kind of people you will need, when we are talking about this size of an institution, you will need some leaders, and most probably those who start, they will be the future leaders. And it's not bad to build a leadership profile in terms of spiritual maturity, operational competence, financial literacy. I mean, not all of us can read a financial statement, but somebody in the institution needs to read the financial statement, and the leader better know how to read those to understand finances. Capacity to ensemble, capacity to hold people and build a team, community credibility. Well, I don't know your countries, but there are countries where community is important. It's not like we what the world say will do it, but community is important. It's in the fabric of that country, that tribe, that the community is important. So it's important if this guy has credibility with the Adventist church, or most of the Adventist church say that this guy is not good. He did that, he did that. So Draft leadership and culture statement. These are good exercises. Make a leadership and culture statement about your future operation. As you begin to think about your operation, you went through the stages where you assess the need. You did that assessment. You pretty much have a list of the needs you propose to cover, and that means of the list of the services you want to offer through your ministry. Then do a role matrix. You start with what you can do now when you open. Maybe you, out of everything you want to do, let's say 10 things, you start with 3. So for those things, you need to define roles. What will be the role of the administrator? Because we are small, can the administrator maybe run in the town and do the purchasing? Because maybe he has the financial overview. Is good to have a gatekeeper. I mean, if everybody buys, somebody needs to decide, okay, we have only 10 shillings. What is important? Well, we need this. Okay, we need all this, but today we can buy only this. The rest we'll buy next week. So maybe the administrator can be also the purchasing guy. Maybe he can also drive. So you do these roles, and you can scale these as you grow. So I'll show you in a minute a model. Maybe I'll do this right now. So okay, here. I don't know how well you see these. Can you see this, more or less? Okay, this is a modeling of a lifestyle center, starting with 10 rooms, 10 patients, 20 rooms, 20 patients, 30 rooms, 30 patients. Okay, if you are going to have a lifestyle center near Nairobi, you have to be sure that if people in Kenya are comfortable today to stay with an unknown person, which I'm not sure, the kind of people who will come to this, tomorrow they won't. So you don't build for today, you build for tomorrow. So that's why usually you have to think in these terms, the room and the patient. Now, you might put two beds in a room. You might put even 3 beds. That's not a problem, but that's, this is conservatively thinking. Okay, so you have 10 patients. You have 2 sessions because my advice is to run an operation which is continual. Not, like I said, you work hard and then you need to rest. That's not a good rhythm for human beings. Of course, you have to think about the pricing, but we'll get there. Look here at the staff. The director is also the administrator, and he takes care of the warehouse. Yeah, because the kitchen need, the medical department needs all the time these things. Then you have a receptionist, and she can be also the secretary. Usually the administrator, the director usually have a secretary, but you cannot afford to have a full-time secretary, so she can do reception also. Then the physician, for 10 people, maybe you don't need a full-time physician to sit there. Now, I'm not talking about the beginning. I'm talking about planning in the future. Or if you have a physician here, he might see patients, outpatients, and other things. But for 10 patients, you know, a physician can easily handle 30 patients, 40 patients, 30 patients, yeah. Then you have here half an accounting, as you don't need a full accounting for this. If you have one, you know, you put him to or her to do something else also. Then you have here the therapist, those who actually do the treatments. In this model, one nurse, one therapist, these are for women, and one therapist for men. In our model, I think one person can handle about 4 or 5 patients. And that means that every day gives treatment to them, but it's more than treatments. This person is coach, this person can give spiritual counseling, so it's a trained nurse or therapist. Then you have here cleaning, and he takes care of flowers and maybe even outside some things. And the purchasing is also the driver. He brings patients. And then you have maintenance, grounds, program coordinator, and spiritual coach. You know, I think with these people you can run this operation. Now you might be able to even consolidate more than one I suggested. Yeah. Pardon me? Yeah, I put 3 cooks. Yes. You think that it's too many or? Because we want them to stay. Not to. Maybe you can start with 2 cooks and somebody else from here helps. But usually you have, you know, they have to be early morning, usually 6 to 2. Maybe in the afternoon they prepare everything somebody else give, but then there is the Sabbath and there is a vacation, and somebody needs to be there. Yeah, you can put here 2 or 3. Yeah, that's a good. Here I just made a modeling for a country in Europe, and the fee is 1,800 euros per person. Right now in Romania, the fee is, I guess, 900 euros, around 900 euros, for the people who stay 2 in a room. So that's why in a Western European country I put 1,800. Each for the services is not too much. So for this, from these people, if you have maximum, you know, 10 patients, twice, 2 sessions of 11 days, you have 36,000 euro income. And so if we put the salary at 2,000 euro a month, which is a very low, like in France, 2,500 euros is minimum. So if we put at this, then here is the total salary, and actually the payroll is 90% of revenue. What do you think, Andy? But can you survive? No, you cannot survive. Okay. So I just wanted to show you an example how to consolidate. You don't need to have so much stuff when you start. Going back to this. Then you can even do a team role matrix, you know, a sort of, you know, a graph where you put the people you need, how much time you need training, when you will need that person, because if you start in next year, maybe for some people you need to to look 2 years in advance because they are not easy. And especially in this age when sacrifice is not on our plate. And young people think of, just staying home on the computer and making a lot of money. I don't know if people think the same here in Kenya, young people. When you think about a team building and training, it's very essential a common theological platform to study and discuss together the Spirit of Prophecy councils. So this should be a staple of forming a team in the Adventist circle, a ministry. Because then you discuss and you see, okay, do we agree? Is this our platform? Because if we agree to that, that's a big start. And then find complementary talents. Don't attract just people who resemble you. Decide training early. I already alluded to that. What kind, where, how long, what commitment. Think of institutions where a team can get specific training, medical, administrative, leadership, nurses training. Be aware that there are phases of a team. Even Adventists, we tend to think that Adventists are ideal people and they will never fight. Getting an Adventist wife is the sure solution to fighting, because you will never fight, and getting an Adventist husband, same. You will never fight with an Adventist spouse. It's true. Okay, so forming this, you have friends, maybe people who come together. Everything is nice. It's idealistic, especially for young people. And then, as things begin to be more concrete and you deal with the realities of life, the second stage is storming. Sometimes it's not clear who is the leader. I mean, people say, yeah, he's the leader, but they don't quite accept. There is maybe one or two who thinks that I can be a better leader. This happens often. And then that's why there is a storming, and after the storming, those who don't belong or they thought they are better, they leave and stay. Maybe sometimes those who stay are less than those who leave, but nevertheless, after this, then the team begin to perform. So it's the performing stage, and eventually, some maybe adjourning, it's the dissolution of the ministry of the institution. Okay, hiring. When you established your list of people, you establish also what kind of training these people will have, and you can maybe sometime after you hire, you realize, okay, this guy doesn't need this training because he already has this training, but needs to have this other training. So what to do when we want to hire? Well, I suggest, because we want to hire Adventists, to counsel with local conference union. And probably your way to let know that people to market, it's through the church channel, because you look for an Adventist. So counsel with local conference union, because they might know things about the person which you don't. Counsel with successful business people, Adventist healthcare leaders, because they have experience in hiring people. People might sound or might look nice, but you have to ask certain questions, and they have a lot of experience in this. To maybe sometime bring them on board when you do the interviewing. You already build a staff list with respective profiles, competencies. You should look for dedicated physicians early in the process. They are key. It's a medical institution. And so it's important that they are early in the process so that they understand what is going on. And they understand they went through the pain of birthing. Well, I'm not talking about Ivan. And not about Dr. Wysicki. It's, do I pronounce correctly?
Yes, perfect.
Dr. Wysicki. I'm not talking about them, but usually physicians tend to be a little bit out of touch with business. They want equipment, they want this, they want that. They don't think. Business people look at the money, say, we cannot. And then there is a conflict between physician and administration, which is not necessarily bad, you know, but that's the situation. So add them early in the process so that they understand what's going on. Choose balanced, non-critical, non-argumentative, rational medical professionals with balanced view on spiritual prophecy and science, like balanced view on drugs. And you know, here is where the church is helpful, because maybe you don't know that physician, but their pastors and that, you know, the other pastors know them from their childhood. So you don't want people who are critical all the time, argumentative. You really, a physician should be a healing agency, should be a person of culture, who understands human nature, who doesn't take personally very easily things. So all these things have to be taken in, and have to understand, you know, the fact that he's physician doesn't mean he's balanced. We have some Adventist physicians who are, you know, totally unbalanced in one way or another. Maybe they are unbalanced because they don't. They are using some non-evidence-based things, or unbalanced because they throw away lifestyle medicine. They are kind of ashamed of the Adventist health message. But I tell you, usually these are people who don't read. I don't know what they read, but they don't read, you know, current science or where the science is going, because we shouldn't be ashamed of our Adventist heritage. Now, from all the time before, you know, 30, 40 years, yes, I could understand. But today, when the whole world is moving into that direction, to be out of sync, team up with good business people for sustainability and correct ratio patient stuff. So if you don't have people with business understanding your team up with them. You see here, as you look at the fees, as you look at the needs, as you look at the salaries, you will realize very soon that maybe with 6 rooms, you are starting bankrupt. So there is no way out of this bankruptcy. You continually will be in a bankrupt stage, or somebody will have to pump money all the time into this operation. Then you move up and you scale, and okay, let's see what if we have 20 rooms, 20 patients, of course the same fees, but you know, it's a difference between a 36,000 and 70,000 revenue. It's doubled. And if you look here, the difference between serving 10 patients and serving 20 patients is not so big. 3 people. So here is where the rentability, the sustainability stands. As you increase the number of rooms, the increase of staff is not proportional. And so here, when you look at, you know, after you pay the salary, everything, the payroll is about 66% of the revenue. Now, I wouldn't recommend this for a for-profit business, but for a non-profit to start like this, I think it's okay. It should be somewhere 50, 60% for a, it's okay for a non-for-profit. You have to count very, because you are not a lot of money over left, you know. You don't have, so you have to fundraise for bigger things. Maybe you know that the water tank broke or a car broke, you can repair. But you know, when you talk about buying a new washing machine, you don't have enough money from these. So that's why you want to go maybe under 50, 40, 45. Then you have a little bit extra money to. And so if you go here at 30 rooms, then your payroll is under 49%, much better. So that's why when you start thinking, you have to go through all this process for your country. And then you discover where you are. And then you have to keep in mind, okay, do I build only for 30 people the dining room? What about the conference? Maybe we want from time to time to have conferences and to have people gather here. Then maybe actually, even if I have 30 patients, maybe the dining room should be for 100 people or 120. Same with the lecture room. So you go through all those things, or even the number of rooms. Maybe I'll do some rooms, I'll do 20 rooms which are normal standard. When I say normal, a normal room today is at least 26 square meters. And normal bathroom. And so you do maybe 20 more rooms which are smaller. You think of maybe conferences, you think maybe I can host 100 people, maybe for youth conferences, for other. So you go through all that process before you start building your, and it should be specific to your country. I think I can stop here if I need to stop and continue after at 12. Should I stop?
So maybe we can get some consensus. I was personally enjoying this session. We started late, and can we give him more time on this, or should we break and continue later? We can get a consensus on that. How many are for the break now and then continue later? How many? Oh, sorry? Yes.
How much more time?
How much more time do you need for this?
Well, I'm just thinking that you know, we have another speaker. So what is the time?
It's 10:40.
10:40.
Yes.
So I was supposed to be from 9 to 10, actually.
9:15 to 10:15.
10:15.
So we started 15 minutes late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just touch on this topic, which is important about hiring, and then I'll stop here. There is an issue which we need to be aware, and that's conflict of interest. You see, usually you start with friends, but sometimes it's good to have friends, sometimes it's difficult to work with friends, because if you are the leader of the friends, they're not always happy to do what you do, or, I mean, come on, we are friends. So there is a balance there. Usually, you cannot start with strangers a ministry. You start with people who think alike, who believe in the same quotations, same books, the same Bible, you know. Anyway, so that's fine, but when there will be the storming thing, some of them will depart. And then when you start performing, how do you hire? See, that's why it's important to do a list of personnel and to do a profile. Say, okay, for For the head nurse, if you have a head nurse, these are the requirements. For the administrator, these are the requirements. This is the experience. So if your, cousin come to you and say, well, I had a business, I have experience, so I want to be the administrator. Fine. I don't, in the day we live, usually, in sacrificial work, there is not a lot of people staying in line. But anyway, fine, you look at this and there is a committee hiring, It's very good to do the hiring through a committee, not alone. I did the gravest mistakes I did in my life, and it was later, not earlier, when I did not consult with a committee. And I thought, this guy is great, he will be the best addition to our ministry, and it was a disaster, yeah. So, you have to be aware there is a conflict of interest there in hiring people and hiring maybe friends or hiring family, hiring church officials. I mean, we respect church and, but, it can be, somebody wants to be part of that, but he's not fit, he's not prepared. As a rule, if something appears like conflict of interest, it is conflict of interest. And it has to be discussed. You shouldn't put it under the rug. It's the white elephant in the room. So that's why in hiring and firing there should be clear policies, clear profiles, and it should not be the decision of one person. You should have a committee, all these interviews, and members of the committee should have independence in decision making. They shouldn't look at the president and see, in which direction he goes. And when somebody has a conflict of interest, if my cousin come, I'm the president, and there are 5 people lined up to be for the administrators. I wish you to have 5 people. One of them is my cousin. What should I do as the president, sitting in the committee? Bail out. I should not be part of that interview, and the other one should have liberty, and I should not threaten them. So that's, a president who don't understand this is going against the health of an organization. Just think, you work for God. You talk about these high principles, like we talked yesterday. But then everybody knows that you actually, you hire people who are not competent. You threaten, not threaten them as an Adventist, but, So how can they work for God? And how can we really live up to this high preaching we do? So we shouldn't do that. As a president, you are the first one, or as the leader, you are the first one who want to enforce this, even if it's your brother. Everything should be transparent and fair in hiring and firing. Everybody should know that process, because that builds confidence. When you identify conflicts of interest, discuss and decide how to handle. Because some conflict of interest cannot be handled by going out. Some conflict of interest we all accept, but we all accept it. In the board we say there is a conflict of interest, but we cannot go around it. We'll accept it and we'll be careful. And if something, it's some questions mark, we'll discuss. And then, performance evaluations, everybody should be evaluated, and it's good. I recommend that even from the beginning, if you don't do performance evaluation and after 10 or 15 years you try to do it, people will be very They say, we're Adventist. We don't need, I mean, for 10 years, nobody evaluated us, and now we respond in the, to God, not to other people. But if it's part of the beginning, then, yeah, okay, this is the way things are done here. People accept much more in the beginning things than later on. Then also, how do you do the leadership transition? Sometimes leaders have to be changed or have to leave, or how do you do that? How does the board do that? So if you don't have this kind of transparency and fair, then there is an erosion of trust, you lose credibility, you lose talented staff, and people are suspicious. And this undermines meritocracy. I mean, we are not, I mean, with God there is no merits. I mean, you cannot do something to say, well, God, I worked, you do your part. But in an institution there is meritocracy. I mean, there are some people who are good with patients, there are some people who are not. And you cannot keep those people, if they are Adventists, they don't merit to be there because they will destroy your ministry. So it's based on meritocracy. And how do you assess that? Well, you do evaluations, and because if you don't have quality, how is Jesus going together with lack of quality, with corruptions, and it's undermining the very object of what we want to do. Okay, I'll stop here. So maybe 5 minutes for questions. If there is any question, if not, maybe you'll go. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. My question is, going through this process of evaluation, because we have seen it is good to be done by a committee, are there like resources where you know what to follow after, or it is through when you have developed the culture of the ministry that perhaps you select like things or qualities that you need from the people that you use as an evaluation tool? Or are there some evaluation tools that are already in existence that can be used in helping out, to get these people or teams?
Yeah, there are evaluations already done. Yeah, it's there are standard evaluation. You can build an evaluation with AI. You just tell what are the criteria you are looking for, and it builds for you an evaluation. I want to add this, that in the beginning, like when you start everything, you are a handful of people. Of course, you don't even have a committee. So some of these things, I'm talking about when you organize, you have a board, you have an executive committee, and usually the executive committee does this thing. But in the beginning, yeah, it's like which was first, the egg or the... I mean, you have to start, and usually starting is messy. I mean, there is no really rules for starting. Because there is somebody who wants to start, and Providence and so on. I mean, you cannot like a committee over Providence. But I'm talking when after you have a bylaw, you have a structure, you have a board, you have an executive committee, because usually you do all these before starting to hire. You have the founders who anyway they do the job whether they are paid or not, and so they organize all these, and then before you really start the real thing, then you have the organization, you have the board, and you have the executive committee, then you have this evaluation of people coming. You have profiles, and I built a profile for for an administrator. I looked in the spirit of prophecy. What are the traits? And so before the actual interview, we sent to them that they completed. They sent us back, and so we had kind of an idea. We didn't tell them these are from the spirit of prophecy. Just send them, and yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for today's presentation. I'm just a little follow-up from what he has asked on culture, but thinking about it from the Kenyan context. Looking at the health-seeking behavior of our Kenyan environment, perhaps a bit of African, how we seek health. Kenyan culture. Okay. So you find we come to hospital when we are very sick, or when we are dying, or when we have no any other way out. So by the time you're coming for alternative health services is when you have gone to all the hospitals and now there is no hope. So to find the kind of people that, let's say, can pay 800 euros, maybe bring it down to Kenyan, 100,000 shillings, would require you to target the upmarket kind of people who can afford that. So, and I look at what Hegelia has done for many years, and I look at what I have done for about 8 years, and I say, perhaps I personally would benefit more from the mistakes you made in the smaller part before it became the bigger ministry, because we have the challenge of, let's say, setting up to a 10-room kind of a capacity lifestyle center. And if we had a model for 4 people, 4 patients, 4 to 8, 4 to 12, 4 to 15, would actually fit an African setup better because of our kind of environment right now. When I checked, a little background, when I checked the Riverside Farm in Zambia, they have 4 rooms. They take 4 patients as a minimum. And they bring 10 staff from the other part of the ministry to run that for the 2 weeks, then they go, then another one. And now to try and replicate that in the Kenyan situation has been, for me, it's been something listening, and I'm saying, where are we going to actually start? When I compared with another one in India, the AG Clinic, they have 7 rooms, so they do 14. It was a little closer to Kenya, but still a little bit of more requirement. So I'm just asking, how can you help us to bring it down to a smaller size with the same idea, big rooms for future development, but maybe starting smaller with about 4 or so, something like that. That's what I'm asking.
Well, you know, the 4-room program in Zambia has as a background a banana farm. So they don't survive on those 4 rooms. Well, I'm not, you know, when I presented these, I didn't say anything about how small to be. Maybe in Kenya you will discover that you can start with 4 rooms. But discover that. I mean, I cannot do the work. You really will have to do the work, hard work, to study, to do projections, to do calculation, to work with a business person, and the same thing in Ethiopia. So I'm not, I'm not against small. You don't misunderstand me. But I'm against prejudice. And I think we function not only here. I found the same thing in Western Europe. They say we are a small church. We cannot do it. But I said, look, you know, there are some of you who have houses of 1 or 2 million. How is it possible for one person it's possible and for God it's not possible? It's all in here. So I'm not saying that the number. Just go through the, and maybe you'll discover that you will be able to have 4 rooms or 6 rooms or. So that's my point. Think sustainability. Think of something which is highly productive for God. Because that's in my mind. I mean, you know, the world is so much, put so much pressure on people to go on their side, and Satan and so on. And why shouldn't we be productive? And instead of having 3 patients, to have 30 patients. I mean, you know, it's a different outreach. So that's in my mind. But I'm, you know, maybe 4 will be okay. Yeah.
I think what she's talking about is like we have different interests. Working with the church is not an easy thing. I have to be very honest. It's not very easy. You know what I mean? That you get the church to work with you, and because we have different, and especially in medical missionary, even other churches, you cannot talk about it. So it's not, because the way I'm looking as you presenting is more like we work with the church, which is, there's no problem. But it's so hard. When she talks about 4, it's because there are very few people who want to do that work, that kind of work. So that's why you see people, not that we are becoming selfish, it's because it's so hard because of the way the church has taken the medical missionary work. That's the problem.
Well, I right here in, I think we need to, if possible, to have the. You remember yesterday when. Friday when I started, I showed you the continuum of medical ministries. You remember there were some columns, starting with church-based, like health expos, cooking classes. I mean, we need people to get involved in that. And then the second was home retreats. And a home retreat is something like that, yeah, really, in which you have maybe a couple of rooms, a small operation, you don't need all this staff. And so there is a place for that. You know, our meeting here is not against that, you understand? But our meeting now is focusing on the 4th column, which are sanitariums, you know, what the spirit of prophecy talks about. So, but that's not against the smaller things. I think I put it, or I wanted to. No, I wanted to, then I didn't. Oh. I wanted to show you that, but looks like we don't have an. Okay. Dr. Weizsäcker, apology for cutting into your lectures. Can we make it a little bit more clear? So this is the context we are talking about. but we focus on this because this is the theme of our. This is the theme of our conference. You cannot focus on everything and talk about everything. It's about sanitariums as presented in the spirit of prophecy. So that doesn't mean that we cannot do it smaller or we cannot do it at home. This is the home style health retreat. And just a second too. Nico, could you help me a little bit, because for some reason I cannot bring the full screen here. Yeah, and if I push there, I should see the. Yeah, sometimes these can be strange. Computers. No. It's this.
This one.
Oh, yeah.
Just say from current slide.
Yeah, but usually when you do that and brings up.
It's not showing us. Oh, okay. Come on. You want to present our preview? No, that's sorted. Just that we're not seeing our slides here.
The main screen.
Yeah.
So it's right here somewhere. It's one of these.
Yeah.
So it's this. So you have to first close all these, either one of these.
No, we'll
So
close it.
this one is the one which is here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you first close it. Then
Yeah, so the thing is we've already put
this
it.
one is the one which is here, right? That's the one that we are projecting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we have to come and say use presenter preview. And then we go to slideshow. Then we'll have this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
but-
he was using duplicate mode.
Oh, duplicate mode. So
Yeah.
what we do? Oh, okay, but we can also change here in the display settings
Yeah.
and say duplicate slideshow.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so you see that in the first column there are a lot of things which people can do even without having a room. Church-based wellness, health expo, health clubs, health talks, non-residential depression recovery. You can do that at church, really. But then, if you want to do something small, then it's a home-style retreat. And actually, we are working right now to do the similar thing for a home-style retreat, for these places with 2-3 rooms, to have a to have something for the whole church, like we have for the the bigger sanitarium, to have for this small thing, to have a sort of guide. Healthy, proven, safe activities, basic health education, spa-like activities, and usually you don't need physician oversight. Dr. Vaisiki is blessed that he is a physician, and so he can be there even if it's a smaller home-style health retreat, or I don't know how they coin it. And then a bigger thing is you can rent a hotel. But still, that's from time to time, and you don't have really a staff. It can be a church campus. You can do health education and promotion, healthy activities, may include physician supervised spa-like activities or not. And then the fourth column is what we are talking about. So I think it's very important to know that I'm not against. By doing this, we are not against 4 rooms or home retreat. But today we are talking about sanitariums, lifestyle wellness centers. It's a residential program, has health education and practices, has physician supervision, treatments, diagnosis, medical activities. Okay, thank you very much, and Dr. Waisiki, forgive us for taking your time, stealing your time.
All right, we'll maybe we can have a 2-minute break, a stretch. 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. Let's have a 5-minute break as we transition to Dr. Asike. Thank you. So 5 minutes, meaning 11:15. Yeah.
Good morning. Would like to take this opportunity to welcome us for the next presentation. And thanks for the musician for such an interlude. It was good. It reminds us this amazing grace. And we are here by the amazing grace. And we thank God for that. We will be doing, starting with the drug herbal interaction. The topic is also given is it's kind of a misnomer, but it makes sense. Herbs are also drugs, because they are pharmacologically active. But we know when you say drug, we know what we mean, the pills. I would like to ask, my wife is around, she'll be presenting in the afternoon. She's my partner, though she's a lawyer, but she's the one who's been doing the running and coordination of the center. We are coming from Eldoret. This is our place, our wellness center. A small garden there for our clients to rest. And these are our rooms, dining, and these are the various rooms in the place. We also have a small garden, just to tell the clients that they need to do their own farming when they go back. We transition to get a bigger farm where they'll be doing their physical exercise farming. Yeah, so but we have some little coyotes here, and little skumawikis there, and other herbs around the area. So it has been a home for all kinds of patients from different walks of life with different kinds of ailments, but with one desire that they be made whole. So these are our clients doing the exercise, walking, and this is our physician there, working with them. So just as a preamble, our emphasis of lifestyle medicine, as we call it, as our Dr. Dan has told us, Adventist medicine. Well, of course, Adventist medicine is lifestyle medicine, but the added emphasis on a spiritual aspect. Of course, which is the most important, because we want to connect these people from this world to eternity when as they come to the center. So it is more of it's preventive, promotive, rehabilitative, restorative, rather than just curative, as it is in the hospitals, and therefore it's integrative. And our strength is the use of natural, harmless remedies. For us, we call it start anew. It's just like a new start, but to us, we say we start anew, with A being an attitude, that is, we're dealing with the mental health. And these are powerful, rather than powerful products that are both expensive in the outlay of means and effects on the body. And so the aim of our lifestyle medicine is to wean off or gently guide our clients from allopathic to homeopathic pathways through this escalation or this prescribing. And the practice is authentic. It is scientifically based. It's morally logical, and it's heavenly directed. Please always remember that. As we do our lifestyle centers, this is supposed to be always. We were told in our presentation that it's God who takes care of these lifestyle centers. So we deal with lifestyle diseases, conditions that should be managed by a lifestyle change rather than just the pills. That's a cornerstone. And so in most of the cases, we don't anticipate a lot of herb-drug interactions, because we are using mostly food as our... the Lord bids us, the sick, that come let us reason together. Isaiah 1:18. I know we know that verse, and we are told that we prove all things and hold fast that which is good. And that's what we do with the lifestyle care and our center, and it should be for all of us. And he tells us that the body is, in assessment of our condition, he tells us our body is full of wounds, bruises, and petrifying sores. That's an escalation ladder for lifestyle diseases. I hope that we understand that. It's in the Isaiah 1:6. I know some of us don't think that that is it's about medicine, but actually that's what the Lord tells us. When he talks about bruises, wounds, that is inflammation, inflammatory markers. And I think I need some help here. I wanted to present. So I'm just reminding us a little, for those ones who have forgotten the inflammatory markers, and the pathway to inflammatory markers, that when God says the whole body is full of, where is it? Oh, no, I wanted it this one. This one. So when God says the whole body is full of wounds and bruises, that is the signs of inflammation, because in inflammation, we always say that, thank you. Inflammation, we always say is what? Ruba, kala, dala, for the medics who are around. It's just about swelling. Eh? So when you have an injury of your hand or leg or something, it's a bruise. There's pain, isn't it? There's swelling, there's tenderness. That's called inflammation. And the cornerstone of all lifestyle diseases is inflammation. So when the Bible says that the whole body is full of bruises and wounds, and then when they say sores, which are smelly, putrefying, which means that's now reached what? Cancer, isn't it? So this is a escalation ladder for lifestyle diseases. Just to know, when you take anything, maybe wrong stuff, like free fat foods, that like processed foods, or any stuff that causes, all those bad foods, when they reach the intestines, there's a lot that goes on. So one, they change the good bacteria that are resistant, which helps you to protect your gut, to the bad ones. And these bad ones, they actually start secreting they decrease your mucus that's surrounding your intestines, so they make it less, and then they decrease what we call tight junctions. There are holes that are protected in the intestines to leak, and increases the inflammatory cells that leak in your blood. Once they reach the blood, they can go anywhere. They can go to pancreatic islets, and they destroy your pancreas, and it causes you to have diabetes. They can go to your muscles and decrease. There's some protective protein, which in your lipids, which helps you to protect against inflammation, and they lead to increasing your inflammatory markers. They can go to your adipose tissues, and they will increase your control of. There's some hormone that helps you to feel full, and there's one that's produced in the stomach to make you feel you're hungry, and that interaction. So they increase that, but they make your brain, it cannot respond to feeling full. So that inflammation, that's why when you take this, you keep on getting hungry and getting more. And that's what happens. So your brain is affected, your brain is sick. And also in your fat tissues, there's macrophages which are supposed to, there's some cells in your body that helps you to protect you. We call them macrophages. They clean the environment. But the same cells also, they help in restoring when you're having a wound, to heal the wound. So when you take this, you change the cells from the ones for healing the wound to the ones for destruction. So the M2 are for healing, and then the M1 is for, so you change for destruction. So you change this one. The same cells, but in different spectrum. That's what happens. So the whole body. And then for the liver cells, there you're seeing the liver cells there. We have natural killer T cells that are supposed to help you in defending yourself. They actually, but when they are increased, they increase what we call the inflammatory markers. So they end up destroying your body. Then when they go to blood vessels, The inflammation is the one which causes you to have the plaques, not the cholesterol itself, but the inflammation around the area that helps you to. So you get hypertension, you'll get all those. It's because of. So when God says that all body is what? Is sick. Andy, you can remove for me that. He means that. So he says, come, let us reason together. You can't move that. Yes, and so I go back to where I was, the preamble. So when God says that, come, let us reason together, he says the whole body is full of bruises and all those. And how is it? He says it's perpetuated by what? A sick head. Yeah, that's Isaiah 1:5. Why? Wrong knowledge, myths, presumptions, deceptions, prejudice, and a faint heart. That is our weakened willpower. And an ineffective health system. Polypharmacy, yeah? Jeremiah 46:11. He says, the daughters of Egypt shall take many medicine, but will not get what? Not get well. So all these are what, as our lifestyle centers, we're trying to work on. But the God's way, the fruit shall be for food and leaves shall be for the healing of the nations. This is the diet that helps, is anti-inflammatory rather than inflammatory. So all herbal medicines, we need to understand when you say herbs, they are pharmacologically active. So there is therefore a risk of interactions with the pharmaceuticals. I say pharmaceuticals are the pills and what you use. And interactions can be either be synergistic, they can be antagonistic, they can be additive, or can be sometimes adversarial. Just remember those ones. These are just big terms for us who are not yet used to. It's just a big terms, meaning one, when they interact, the effect can be multiplied many times than normally you expect. And two, sometimes it can diminish. So instead of 1 plus, synergistic means 1 plus 1 can be 5. Antagonistic, 2 plus 2 can be 2. So it goes down. Additive, 2 plus 2, 4. So the effect is just multiple as you predict. Or it can bring bad side effects, unintended consequences that are harmful to us. So there's need to have an idea of the pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics of each herb and pharmaceutical. To broken down, it means it's good for us to, pharmacokinetics means that when you take this drug or this herb, what's it doing to your body? That comes from the time you're ingesting it or you're adding a poultice, how is it getting in your system, how it's going to the stomach, how it will be absorbed in the stomach, then how it will go to the liver, how it will be bound, and then it goes to the blood, how it will be distributed in the blood. Then finally, it reaches the site of action, and then it is what? Eliminated, either through your breath, or through your skin, or through your kidneys, or through your stool. How is it eliminated that way? That is just means pharmacokinetics. Then it says pharmacodynamics is how now, once that drug gets into your site of action, what is it doing to your body? How does it now start interacting with your molecules there? So, okay, I would like to, yeah, can you just go? I don't know how to do it. I'm not very good in, until today you're going to help me here. You show me the, I want to go back to this. Yes, this one is, no, it's not showing. Yeah, okay. Thank you. So this is just a nutshell how it's done, pharmacodynamics and pharmacokinetics effect. So what to know about that? So once the drug gets into your molecules, what does it do? There's drug and receptor interactions where the body picks up this drug and works in. So one, it can act as it binds to your cell. There's a receptor there that holds the drug. It can turn on the cell and make the response, the desired response. But sometimes it can, as it interacts, it can block. Or sometimes it can inhibit your normal body functions so that they are diminished, is competing with your normal. So when you're taking a herb and you're taking a drug, these ones can happen. So sometimes the herb that you're taking, it can be agonistic, which means it can help. But sometimes it can be antagonistic, which means that you take this drug and you take this pill, instead of your pressure going down, it can raise. Yeah. Or sometimes it can go even down further. So please always be, we always know about this. Now, how do you know how this drug works? Almost all the drugs that we have, the pills we have, they always have the side effects. Probably they'll tell you it causes what? Bleeding diastasis, means it can increase the bleeding tendencies. So if you're doing that, and I'm giving a herb, I'll be careful. I'm giving flax seeds. I know flax seeds causes what? Coagulation increases. Or I'm going turmeric. I know turmeric also leads to. So always want to know, yeah, or I'm taking garlic. Garlic will increase your bleeding. So once you always know the cayenne, I know cayenne decreases the bleeding, but it stops the bleeding when it's bleeding from outside. But when it's inside your body, it encourages blood flow. So you always have to know and be aware of, and most of us will always tell you don't have to be a medic to know that. These days, if you go to the net, you're able to see the effect of these drugs. I mean, the herbs that you are using. And now, and then you check on each and every pill when your client has come in and look at the effects. You're supposed to be diligent and able to know, and able to guess. So that will help you so much. You know this is going to be. But always remember at the background that sometimes that interaction might not be how you might give something that causes bleeding, but in essence, you give this one, instead of causing it, you can have this effect, isn't it? Either be agonistic or antagonistic, or they'll be competitive. So we always be aware of that. So there are problems with our conventional drugs, which we know. That one, because of these interactions, can come from the pharmacokinetics. That is, as you said earlier, how the body reacts. So sometimes you can take the drug, maybe you're taking charcoal, and you're giving another drug. What will happen? The absorption will be, the charcoal will hold on to the drug, isn't it? Because it's very highly absorbent. So you'll have a problem with suboptimal absorption. So you are affecting the pharmacokinetic. But sometimes it can affect your liver. And so you might have suboptimal metabolism, especially if somebody who have problems with liver disease, because some of our clients will have a problem with what? Yes. So the liver is not working very well. And most of the drugs are going to be either through the kidneys or through the liver. So when you have suboptimal metabolism there, there's a problem. Always be aware of that. Commonly, the normal drugs for the pills, what we do, we are always told that when you have a kidney problem, you reduce the dose. We know that, isn't it? So even as when you're using the drugs, the herbs, always know also you can adjust accordingly. Don't just give the normal standard dose because there could be an effect, isn't it? Always check when someone has either liver problem or has kidney problem, always know that you reduce because of those interactions. There could be lack of targeting ability, so leading to poor or biocompatibility. So all this leads to, and then the drug may not be able to be available in your system. So we are now heading towards the pharmacodynamics. So all these, they are related. But always there's unwanted side effects. Some of the drugs might penetrate where you don't want them to go, like to your brain. Yeah, you want them to treat something else, but they'll go to the brain, because they are especially those ones, oils and all that, because the brain is very absorbent to lipid drugs. So you have to know that, and all of them will lead to side effects. So you have to know, for example, if you are getting the client is on some drugs that causes sedation, yeah, the pills, some of them cause sedation. And so you give your drug that some of your herbs that it causes what? Sleep, isn't it? There will be interactions, and they can cause to more CNS depression. So you see that the patient will get even what? Can even slip into coma if you're not aware of that. The other thing that you need to know, the problems that can arise from these interactions, is checking on your, we always say children are not young adults. So they don't respond the way we respond. And also take care of the aged. People are old. In most of the sanatoriums, people will be coming to us. Young people are not sick most of the time. So the older people are the ones who are coming who are very sick. And so they are very frail. Their liver are not working as good. Their kidneys are not as good. And so they are very sensitive, especially those ones which are sedative, those ones which causes drowsiness. We are very careful about that. You can give, and then they go to respiratory depression. They just refuse to breathe. Yeah? And you try to wake them up, they open their eyes, and they just go again to, yeah. And you check your saturations are 60s. So what do you do? And you sometimes don't have oxygen apparatus because you're not a hospital. What do you do, you know? So that is something that we need to always be careful about, the aged and the young. And always remember this way, that some of these drugs, they have what you call, we said the Daughters of Egypt has many medicine. They have a lot of polypharmacy. So most of the time, like for us, I don't know how it's been experienced for those ones who are running the centers, but most of the ones who come to us, they have like 9 drugs or 10. And the other side of practice, to avoid people having many drugs, we tend to lump the drugs into one tablet. So you can have one tablet, but it has 4 drugs. Okay? So when you maybe just an example, we'll tell you like there's Amloza H. That's like there are 4 drugs into one, isn't it? There's losartan there. Yeah? And there's hydrochlorothiazide there. Yeah? There's amlodipine there. So we put so many drugs into, so you may think it's one tablet, but there are many, isn't it? And all of them are interacting differently. Then they have the ones for diabetes. Another, one tablet, but has 4 drugs. And they're interacting. Then they come with arthritis, so they have another drug that we are using. Then they might have a problem with gastritis, ulcers because of what they are taking, because they're taking the medicine for, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories for the pain, but also it's causing them to have what? Yes, acid problem. So they're having a drug to lower the acid. So before long, you actually have a lot of, and then they are not sleeping, so they have something there for sleep. So because they're in pain, so and they're forgetting, so the doctor has added something for memory. So you realize that they have so many drugs, and these drugs on themselves there. Now there's something that we ought to know, that in most of the side effects, we only give you one side effect. And then when you add another drug, you might able to predict the interactions because it's easy. Once you 3 drugs, sometimes it's so complex, you cannot able to predict all the. How we get to know the side effects of a drug is that we get somebody who is healthy, like Andy here, very healthy, and we give them a drug, and then we see the symptoms, isn't it? We can have like 1,000 people, healthy adults, we give them there, and then we see, we tabulate. Out of those 1,000, 10 of them got some GI problem. Then we'll say rare side effects, you can have some GI problem, less than 1%. Then you have 100, maybe they have a problem with what? Drowsiness. You say this is common. Yeah? 10%, they have this. That's how we tabulate, isn't it? Remember, they are healthy. They don't go to get the old people who are 90 years and they have other issues and they do them that, isn't it? So when that drug, when writing that one, it's not representative of your client. Yeah? 2, we don't say that they give you this one and then they get another one. So for example, they don't assume this patient will have a hypertension and arthritis, so that they can combine and then they have now those. So that is beyond, we don't know. It depends on your feedback of. And then we always leave you with a caveat that any new side effects, please inform. So these are not representative. So the drug-drug interactions, some of the drugs, they have what we call narrow therapeutic index. For example, one of the drugs that you have to be careful, those ones who have like, people have like seizures, they could be on a drug there's a drug called phenytoin, or epinephrine, if you know that. It is very narrow therapeutic index, and it's cardiotoxic, has heart problem. It can stop the heart. So if you are using another drug, maybe for pressure, and you are lowering, maybe you're like having what you call a beta blocker that stops the heart from straining, and then you are having this one, and then you add your hub that also lowers that, what's going to happen? Disaster, isn't it? Because now that epinephrine, it gets destroyed in the liver. So if your hub is going to make your liver have suboptimal metabolism, what's going to happen? The effect of this drug is going to go up, and yet it's narrow therapeutic. You see, it's very sharp, so that the side effects are so just a little increase. You see, here is normal, just a little increase shoots up. So that is what you have to be always cognizant to. So there's always that, and all of them lead to the side effects. So what do we do now, based on what we just highlighted? We need what we call targeted investigations. Always when your client comes in, first and foremost, do the baseline. Do the baseline for admission. So we do the full hemogram, just checking your blood levels. Do your kidney function tests. Why? Because you want to know, is this kidney functioning very? And adjust the drugs accordingly, depending on the renal function. You always check your liver, because your liver is another place where you are eliminating. So you have to check liver function tests and ensure that the liver is working very well. And what do you know? It's not just by checking, of course, checking in your eyes, sclera. You'll see if it's yellow, there's a problem with bilirubin. But that sometimes that one might not be there because the liver has many functions. I hope you know that, isn't it? That's just one, we are checking on the excretion aspect of the liver. But the excretion aspect of the liver, there's a metabolic aspect of the liver. So there are synthetic functions of the liver. So there are many functions that you're dealing with. But it will give you an idea when you do your liver function tests. One, It will tell you the excretion, whether it is able to eliminate your bilirubin very well. So you'll see the bilirubin, both direct and indirect. It will be able to tell you whether the synthetic function of the liver, the proteins, is good. Yeah, the albumin is low, because the albumin will affect your what? Remember what you said? What will albumin do? Your distribution, yeah, of the drug. So your bioavailability and all that. So it will give you an idea on what you ought to, yeah, and then it will also tell you the liver function, the enzymes. Are they high? Because when the enzymes are high, especially the ASTs and ALT, it tells you there's something, there's inflammation in your liver. So there's a problem in your liver. So it can give you, you're able to have an idea. Or it will tell you alkaline phosphatase or a gamma glutamate, tell you there's some obstruction, internal obstruction. So you can have what? External obstruction, maybe the urine is not flowing, but you can also have internal obstruction, and able to let you know by just checking the liver function test. So you can get a lot of wealth of information to just guide to see you, the patient, how he is. For the kidney, of course, you will know, isn't it? The kidney, you will be checking your electrolytes, very important. And of course, your urea and creatinine. So urea and creatinine will tell you how it's eliminating. But the other electrolytes are very important, because the sodium and the potassium are one of the worst things that can mess up your patients. Potassium is very high, the heart can just stop suddenly. The sodium is low, the brain swelling. Then the patient will be confused and weak, and you wonder why it's happening. So you always want to know. It will help you to kind of know and how you intervene before you give any herb for that matter. You check on lipid profile, because I'll add a caveat there. So some of these patients, of course, have lifestyle diseases. They have a lot of cholesterol. You remember that the inflammation, the bruises that was being talked in the Bible, is happening inside the cell, isn't it? The body makes its own cholesterol. Please know that. It's not the cholesterol in the egg that causes the cholesterolemia. Yeah? Because how are you going to get vitamin D? You need that cholesterol for it to make you that. Because the body has to use, isn't it? So it uses the cholesterol, and you go to the sun, and then it makes vitamin D. The brain needs that cholesterol. So the body makes the cholesterol. The problem is not the cholesterol. The problem is what? The inflammation that is in the cells that damages the lining of the cells, so that the cholesterol can come and attach there. Okay? So the walls are red and they have holes, so the cholesterol attaches there. Now, when your client comes in and you are doing your blood cleansing, it's like you have a pipe which has a lot of sludge, isn't it? Then you put, what do you do, ladies? What do you do to clean the sludge? You put what? Bicarbonate. What do you do to clean your sludge in your kitchen? What do you use? I mean, you are medical missionaries. You should understand. Yes, what do you use? Okay, vinegar or whatever, bicarbonate. So when you put, what happens? Does the water get cleaner or it gets dirty? It gets dirty, isn't it? Then eventually it gets what? Clean. So it's same thing happens. When you take a sample of blood for cholesterol, you're not taking from the wall, you're just taking a sample of the tap water, isn't it? So when it's dirty, it shows that the lining could be even more dirty, isn't it? So what we do when you are measuring your cholesterol is not a representative of what's happening in your inflammation, because it's just showing what is. So the problem is in the linings. So when you start doing your cholesterol, and you give your garlic, for example, immediately when you start that one, the cholesterol will go up. Are you worried? Yes. So outside there we will tell you, this garlic, quickly will tell you, stop that garlic because it's worsening your cholesterol. The levels were 240, now there are 280. You know, it's like, it's worsening, stop it. But the idea is what? It's just cleaning the one which is on the wall, and so there's a lot that is going to flow. That patient is even safer than one who has almost normal cholesterol, isn't it? And when you give those statins, they're just removing the one which is in your, yeah, but it's not cleaning the one which is what? Yeah. So always do it this way. So always when you interpret these results, have the background knowing what you're doing. Coagulation profile, sometimes, because we'd say if a patient has bleeding problems, some of them, they have had maybe clotting problems. They might have, they may be on anticoagulants, blood thinners. So you always have to know. They are on aspirin. Most of them, those are the common ones, isn't it? Because of the inflammation, isn't it? So you give them, them and we start them on. But always good to know. Don't, if the pressure is not going down, always maintain the drugs. You have to learn how to do what we call deep prescribing. It is a skill that you need to learn. It's a skill that's taught in lifestyle medicine. So we know that you'll know how to reduce don't just stop suddenly. Because there's some things you stop suddenly, you have what you call rebound. You stop some medicine, what will happen? Pressure might shoot up and then he has a stroke. Or you stop the anticonvulsants, he'll have what you call status epilepticus, where he will just continue having seizures, convulsions, you do everything, he has to go to ICU. So you always want to be careful on how you do prescribing. So those one of the things. So when you see that the tumor markers are not going down, it's like, okay, there could be some interaction, isn't it? And then it will help you to kind of go back and check again in the interaction that I'm there, and now do the normal adjustments. So that's why you need to have those tests as you continue. Hypervigilance is needed to check on those interactions. So how do you do that? You always check, you always do your vital signs. Ideally, when you do twice, or even sometimes 3 times, especially for the acute patients. So you vital signs, check your blood pressure, check your SpO2s. SpO2 just means for non-medics, just your saturation, oxygen. Partial pressure of oxygen. So what you do is you check on those ones. You want to check on your heart rate, because heart rate will also tell you something. Is it going down or is it going up? I hope you know interpreting the vitals also is very important to know, because sometimes you can just be taking it but don't know how to interpret it. It can tell you a lot of stuff. Yeah. For example, if you realize that you're checking your blood pressure and blood pressure is going down, but the heart rate is going up. You're just wondering, could it be dehydration? Is it that he has internal bleeding, that is losing blood? If your blood pressure is going down and your pulse is going down, is that there is something cardiotoxicity? The heart is failing because of maybe the interaction that's going on. It kind of gives you an idea. If saturation is going down and the blood pressure is going down, has it developed a pulmonary embolism? Maybe the drugs I'm giving is going to. So kind of it helps you to be able to pick up something before late. So you want to take those vitals and know how to interpret those vitals. Very important. Tachycardia, sometimes it could be the early signs of infection before when the temperature just goes up. So pressures are okay, there's a bit of tachycardia. The heart rate is going, that means the heart rate is moving very fast. Could be a sign of pain, so you of course talk to the patients, you're in pain. So those are the things that helps you when you're doing that. Clinical rounds. Always have the clinicians doing these clinical rounds. Ideally, if you don't have a lot of clients, he can do what we call the entry rounds and exit rounds. So check the patients first thing in the morning, and then when he's leaving, again, just be checking on this to see if there's any interaction or something that is going on that you can pick up early. Specific follow-ups in the labs as indicated are critical, so that if you see something, you do the specific follow-up. For example, if you are doing your rounds and then you see the patient has ecchymosis. Ecchymosis means you're seeing bruising under your skin. Quickly check your platelets. The drug platelets are going down. Maybe they are less than 100 and you can bleed from anywhere, isn't it? There's tachycardia, pulse is going a bit down, and you check there's a bit of paleness. Check on what? Is he having what? Is he having, ask them, is he having some Malina stool? When you're asking the caretaker, was it dark and foul smelling? Could show you that he's bleeding, isn't it? Or if he's frank bleeding. Or if he was vomiting and cough ground. So it will tell you there's something going on, isn't it? So you pick up so many things in your clinical rounds and then do as indicated. Always remember, I know we do detox. You also have to know, like for us, we are very careful because some defects, some of the drugs, some of the herbs that you're giving for juicing that you are going to do for detox. Sometimes they can also give you side effects if you don't do it rightly. You know how? You don't just start by doing blood cleanse on a patient. He'll be so sick. He will vomit, you won't like it, isn't it? Why? Because you're not doing it, you always have to do it sequential. Because you are cleaning this blood with all these toxins. Where are they going? And he has a colon is full of stool. Where is it going? The liver cannot push anything out, isn't it? You're going to be so sick. So always remember that when you do that, we always start with the colon, so that at least there is ukombele, it's cleared, and it's cleared. And you're clearing, everything has been cleared. Always remember that way. Otherwise, that could be, and will tell you that I can't take this drug because what? Yeah. Skin reaction. Skin reaction sometimes can just be mild. No, just the itchiness, and that's not so bad. But it ranges from mild to very, so the severe one is called the Steven Johnson, where the whole skin gets burned. Actually, you treat them as burns. So sometimes you treat them as 80% burns. So they have to go to the burn unit and try to protect them. And sometimes you might not have it in your... Don't do what? Always know your competence and stick to your... There's work for everybody. And the master knows that. There's work for everybody. The parable of given, the ones who went to go to work, some of them went at 9 a.m. They reported on time. The others who joined at 10, others came at midday, others came at... And the ones who came at 9 were complaining bitterly. How come are we getting? I've been hearing those workers complaining. The wise shall understand. I mean, some of the workers who came at 9 a.m., what I mean is the non-medics picked. So let's appreciate your competence. Appreciate your competency. Have a defined goal for referral. It was coming. He was almost dead, you know, and you just helping in certifying. So what's your goal there? So you have to know about that. So define your goal for referral. For sometimes you modify this to say like, okay, you're going there because where this condition is so I'm not able to do anything about it, isn't it? And what are you trying to avoid? What's your goal there? To avoid what? Bad, isn't it? Or we don't want to go to the chief to explain and say all those things. That's our goal, isn't it? You are defining your goal. This patient he's bleeding so much, I'm not able to give the herbs that you're able to generate the blood quickly. He's losing. What's your goal there? Yeah, I want to go for transfusion, isn't it? You want to transfuse in your center, you don't have the transfusion machines and the gadgets and all that. Unless you have a whole-grown sanitarium where all the facilities for transfusions are there, isn't it? In order to transfuse quickly because the patient is losing, he's going to lose, isn't it? So what are you going to do? Your referral is for the transfuse. They get transfused and then they come back and you can continue managing them. So you have a definite goal. Suppose the patient has a difficulty in breathing. They've slipped, you didn't know the interactions of the drugs, sedative, and now this patient, or for what? For respiratory support. Once they get stable, they can come in. So you have definite goal, specifically for a referral. As you refer, always have your documentation. Let your documentation be crisp. Make sure they are. Don't copy the doctors the way you write like a butterfly or like duckling walking on the paper. I mean, have at least shorthand or you type if that's possible. But they should be under the point. Not so much, don't beat around the bush, the point, isn't it? This patient is stage 4, cancer of the breast with the, cancer of the breast with the, on palliative care. Now he has difficulty. He requires ventilatory support or something like that. Just specific. Don't be where you're going to incriminate yourself or something like that, isn't it? We're just doing supportive care or something like that. So always have your crisp documentation. Who or where to refer to, always know that. And sometimes you might refer back to the primary physician who was managing them, or whatever, or the hospital that you're working with, so that you know where they are going. Just don't say that go anywhere else, but sometimes it's good to know there. And that's very good because you say we're working together, isn't it? So when you're working with this and you have good rapport with the hospitals around, you can actually call and say, okay, this is a client that we manage in this way, and now he has this, and please can you accept, so that they will accept and help the patient. Don't just throw them in anywhere, but just outside the gate. You can go anywhere from outside my gate. That's not good. Yeah. So condition that can make you to refer when they have acute neurological deterioration, they're going down. Because once they start going down and able to respond, it's very dangerous, because once the patient is not able to respond to your command, it's very easy to, even they can vomit, and then the vomit will go to your lungs, and that's how the patient will die, not from the primary problem, but from just aspiration, isn't it? From just blocked airway. So some of these things they require to be protected, and that's why acute respiratory distress, this patient has acute one, maybe it's not able to breathe, and you can see the functions are going down. Sometimes that might require for you to, patient have status epilepticus, which means they're just, after every 30 minutes, they're just having another seizure. I know we have maybe herbal remedies for the seizures, but sometimes when they have those status epilepticus, even in the normal hospitals, it's very difficult to handle. So most of the cases, sometimes we admit them to ICU and we stabilize them. Once they are okay, then they can come back and continue with the management. So always some of those are the things, because unless you have those support, sometimes when you are forced to paralyze them, because once they have those, it continues, yeah? And the more they have the seizures, the more they go down. Okay, so acute blood loss, normal one, which is just you can do, but it's an acute one, and I say that it's interfering with your blood pressure. I hope you know when you lost 15%, it's just a bit tachycardia. 15, 20, 30, there will be now pressure will be coming down, isn't it? That's the time you don't stay for long. They need that, or they just have a severe symptomatic anemia. Sometimes the HB can go low and you're trying your herbs and they're not going up. Sometimes good to just refer so that they can be boosted, isn't it? Because they might be having given and even do do some tests, isn't it? Do your OGD just to make sure that they are not bleeding anywhere, or if they're having leukemia, and so the bone marrow has been suppressed, so it's not making it. It takes a bit of time for you because our natural way takes time, isn't it? So this acute phase, they need to be supported until the nature takes it what? So you always have to know when to do that. Recalcitrant ARV, if you have this, that's acute renal failure, which means that the kidneys have shut down. You're giving all your things that you're doing, and you're giving your kidney support and all that, and they are not getting anything, and the potassiums are going up and all that. Sometimes you might need to refer so that they can have agent for now, stabilize the patient. When just one dialysis or something, then they can come back and continue. So that's how, always know that for us, our care, it takes time for it too. So this requires rapid support. Sometimes you might need the hospital. That's why we were referring them. Not that you cannot do it, but sometimes it takes time, isn't it? Either that or hepatic failure. Liver failure is so bad, sometimes worse than kidneys. When it has shut down, patient will go into seizures, will just go into deep coma because that ammonia is very toxic to your brain. So sometimes you don't want to have, if you refer, as you said, you know there are defined goal of referral. You know why you are referring this patient. Sometimes you say, okay, I don't want to have any problem here. You want to get yourself off, or maybe you can be helped to support. Although maybe you just said acute hepatic failure, sometimes the main hospitals might not do a lot of anything on that. So sometimes you might even do well because they don't do those poultices and all those things and cleansing. But sometimes because of knowing what it is, palliative care, patient has come for palliative care, and he's so sick, they said, we don't want them to go to the hospital, but you know that this one is so sick, he's starting now to lose memory. You know, you can able to guess he's going down, and you don't want them to have a mortality. That could be one of the reasons why you need to, isn't it? Relatives or patients' requests. That is very important. Sometimes the patient is not able to make his consent because he's not able to make his decision, but relatives are saying, sometimes you don't want to have problems. They are insisting, or they are fighting, there's no consensus between the two of you. It's good too. So watch out for the consent under duress. So they say that, no, the patient has said he wants to be here, but now this patient now is not speaking, and now doctors are saying, no, we want to refer this patient. Don't insist. Okay? Safe integrative practice, you always have qualified, competent, highly motivated, and spiritual workers. I think that is whether all across both, clinicians, nurses, because it's a mission. Align with all statutory requirements. Do due diligence, documentation, and communication. Very important. Communicate with the relatives, communicate with the on the expectations, have them and document. Aim to practice evidence-based. That's why you need the labs, the imaging, the pathology, so that you are working with. It will be good for your testimony. Consult, collaborate, and refer as appropriate. That goes without emphasis. Consult, collaborate, and refer as appropriate. And put God first and last and in all that you do. Please remember that. So red flags and integrated pathways. Patient requiring supportive care. Ventilatory, anotropic. Anotropic means just maybe the pressure is so low and you're giving your beetroots and all these things and they're not going down and requires that. Maybe it's a failing heart. Sometimes they require those whatever we want to give. Transfusion, severe sepsis. Sometimes especially infectious diseases, we are, as a lifestyle center, we are more keen towards chronic diseases. I mean, that's our strength. You know, the bruises and caused by what? Yeah? Disease is an effort of nature to get rid of what? Yeah, you know, what you have broken your loss of health, isn't it? I'm yet to understand, maybe Dan will tell me, if you are bitten by a mosquito, you broken, you get malaria, have you broken any law? Yeah? You've broken a law. Okay, we say that's a law of nature. And sometimes you're not able to exhaust, and the mosquito can come from nowhere, and and you're in a mission, and and you cannot do anything about it. You can't cover yourself completely, and the mosquito will just come from nowhere and beat you. No, I hope you get it, isn't it? Or you are moving to go to Bible study, and the distance is far, and you hopped yourself into you are a passenger in a motorbike, and then you are knocked by a lorry. I don't know which law you are broken, but you'll be broken, isn't it? Your bones will be broken. So sometimes when actually the diseases are talking about, it's mostly these lifestyle diseases, isn't it? Those bruises we are talking about, the cancers, the diabetics, the hypertensions, they're broken in nature, isn't it? And so sometimes some severe sepsis, and you can't handle it. I would like some things require surgical care. So we were able to do it. Remember when the spiritual prophet was one who had a very pass in the knee and try to use all the ports and working and say drain it, isn't it? So some things might require, or a broken bone might require what? Surgical intervention. So might not handle it. So sometimes maybe supportive care, they're so down they can't take orally. Maybe they have this. See your esophagus, they aren't able to eat anything. You don't give your drugs. How are you going to give? You can't give an enema. It cannot be nutritious, isn't it? So what are you going to do? Sometimes they require that, isn't it? They put a stand, or they put an tube, whatever you do, isn't it? So always remember that. Red flags. They're able to you're going to starve. Feedbacks from relatives and staff. Staff says, hey, we wanna always have an ear too. Don't assume that I know all, isn't it? Or from the rest, they want to take the patient, don't insist. Refusing intervention. This patient is refusing intervention or deteriorating. Sometimes go to just your competence do it. Terminally ill, and they are just about to. You can pray for them and prepare them and do all that. But sometimes you might need to do it because you don't want them to have a mortality there. Highly infectious diseases, contagious diseases. Sometimes you want to handle it, isn't it? Some of the end stage, like HIV, and your staffs don't have enough glass. You understand what I mean, isn't it? Sometimes you might think on how mental patients which are a danger to themselves or other clients. Sometimes they can have those you can wake up in the morning and they have gone and they have, I know we'll have that. We can discuss on mental illness because mental illness and demonic possession run very closely. You have to know which one. But sometimes when they're so violent and you're not able to contain them, sometimes it'll be safe for you too. I think we'll go very fast on the other parts. I only have like 20 minutes. And then maybe we'll ask questions later. So that, quick one, I just want to talk something about how to transitioning from allopathic practice to lifestyle medicine. Please keep your questions, we'll discuss later. So the myths, one of the myths that we'll discuss a little bit. One, that lifestyle medicine is not a real evidence-based medicine. I think that one you already, it's underscores, isn't it? Yeah? Or they just say it's a common sense. Yeah? Or it's just anecdotal. It's just people who just decide it's not even evidence. Most of the people say that. Please know this way. There are guidelines and consensus that replacing lifestyle medicine actually is it's a first line of most of the chronic diseases. That one is proved beyond. In fact, it's like somebody who is saying that he's a scientist and believes in evolution. Yeah? It's a misnomer, isn't it? It's a paradoxical. Trials show that the lifestyle medicine can prevent, hold, or sometimes reverse. And we have seen so many of you have the lifestyle centers, you have seen all the diabetes reversed, hypertension reversed, coronary heart diseases reversed, and obesity. You've seen all that, isn't it? Yeah. And we use evidence-based. Number two, that abandoning medications and procedures. That when you have lifestyle means you have to not go to the hospital, or the medicines are bad. Just wonder about it. Quinine and the current medicine for for malaria, artemisia. So we still use artemisia also. Yeah. So it doesn't mean that all those medicines are bad, and that's the problem we have. That extremities we have to try to, prove all things and hold fast that which is. So if you don't do that, you're not proving them, and you're just saying it, you are breaking the commandments of God, isn't it? You're not proving all things and holding fast that which is good. It's complementary and foundational. So it's one which helps you to handle, especially for lifestyle diseases. Okay? And sometimes procedures remain. And most of the time when they come to a lifestyle center, we don't just stop all the drugs and say, throw them away. We prescribe. And okay? Please remember that way. Number 3, that I can't bill for this. This is financially unstable. I know I saw those questions. Yeah. I like what's happening in Europe and America because they have models where you can bill. We are, like I've been trying personally, but I don't know, but you guys will join us, trying to talk to insurance companies so that they can also place us to be reimbursed. Because imagine I was telling them, having somebody who is diabetic and is going to spend all the premiums being managed in Nairobi Hospital. And then having 100 who are paying premiums, but they are not going to the hospital because they are well. Where would you go for? It doesn't make, it just accruals. You should just know, isn't it? So with time, I think people are going to be on board. So don't despair, hang in there. They will be looking for you because they want people want clients who are healthy. They don't want to have ensure an employee from a company executive who will be half a year is in the hospital, not working. I'd rather work with somebody who's doing his best, isn't it? So why I'm going to invest my money? Somebody who's going to give me a program which will make my staff what? Healthy. So when I see people complaining, I don't know, we are suffering, I don't know, the Lord is just waiting to see how and God doesn't like sometimes, Israel says, 10 times, God counts. Remember this was when they were making noises about this G-fish, SG, God was counting and said, this 10 times have you tried me, by your murmurings. So remember, maybe God has reached now your murmuring is reached 8, maybe the remaining 2. So please, hopefully we understand that one. Patients won't change, especially in my population. Just a myth, isn't it? We have seen so many people have been, that the barriers have just been maybe time, access, or literacy, or lack of motivation. But sometimes having that more realistic steps build trust and momentum. For us, we do differently. We say they have to stay for, I saw a doc here was doing 11 days, others were doing 2, as you say, 3 weeks. But you can always have your model. I must live a perfect lifestyle before I can offer. That should not be a hindrance. All of us are in the journey walking, isn't it? Yeah, remember this health reform is God never argues, never, and please don't condemn. If you have succeeded in not taking meat, don't look at other people who are taking meat and look at these are carnivorous. I'm going to heaven. There's don't judge like that. Live with these people because everyone is having his own journey and struggles. So try, Try to be authentic and honest, sharing your own goals. Like me, I always share. I tell you, okay, me, I've overcome on diet, but I'm still struggling on sleep, and I'm still struggling on exercise sometimes because over time doesn't. Yeah. So I have also a problem, and I'm struggling also. So when I get a chance, I sleep. So I do. So I try to catch up my sleep. But so everyone has that. We are working. We are working in progress. And this is a very bad one. Nutrition. We were handling just give an example, we were handling one of our grandfathers, and when we said we are just, because we don't want them to, they don't want chemo, say like, you're just going to give food so they don't have any side effects, and and some very, how to put nutraceuticals, sometimes very hard to, in a layman language. But it's not superfoods that will help you to strengthen. So if that's a superfood, I can go home and I can be cooked very well. I have my wife, I've left there, I will cook very well. Your grandmother will cook for me, So some people think like that. Yeah? Just advice. Sometimes we insist, no, no, no. It's not just, then now you have to come family. It's not just about that. There's so much more. There's so many other 5 pillars, isn't it? And even that nutrition, how you prepare it is very different. So there are so many things that are in there. And so, so please remember that and all these are synergistic to each other. They help each other. Just doing nutrition alone does not help. And so even being adherent, so you need to always insist on that. And that's the reason why we're having sanatoriums, otherwise cooking, people have done in their homes, so that you're able to bring all those 6 pillars into one to be synergistic, and they can give you what? A better outcome. So integrating evidence-based lifestyle medicine into an existing practice, how can you do that? I know most of you want to do that. I've seen so many of our physicians, my colleagues around. Yesterday there were less. On Friday, today I can see we are many. But how do we define, first and foremost, define your role and core skills. So align with IBLM, International Body for Lifestyle Medicine. And actually, it's not very expensive for those ones who are learning. You can actually get in. You can, there's CMEs you do, and then there's physical, you attend the exam, and you do a case study where you reverse one of those diseases, and you can get sport certified, isn't it? There are many. And Doc here has told us what? They are also doing it. How many of us are going in Romania? A show of hands. Thank you, thank you. So we have clients here. We go and get this certification, isn't it? You can do that. But each and every one of you, there's coaching. You don't even have to be a medic, and you can be taught on how to do. There's everyone. Everyone actually is what? Everyone you can don't say that I'm not a medic. And even allied ones, nutritionists, they also pick, if you are a nutritionist and you know you have done masters or PhD, you can actually do the same like with the physicians. And so there's a lot, every one of you have skills you can do. So you can be a coach, you can be, and we need that. The Lord needs you. Yeah? Don't be like that one talent. So you are seeing doctors that have 5 talents, then they can continue doing the trading. Me, that's one talent, I'm burying it down. The master will not be happy with you. Decide on scope, okay? So there's all those scopes that you can do that. And you can get all that and be certified. Integrate lifestyle medicine to routine visits and workflow. Yes, it might be a bit of time trying to do. I used to do all that. I have 20 patients waiting, and then I have to do all the 8 pillars, in fact. By the time I'm done, it's midnight. Now I'll go to theater. Then I realize I've found this is very nice. This one is good. Sometimes you just focus on one and give them another date, isn't it? So you can focus on one of those activities and use that questionnaire. You can pick one pillar and just do that. Ask, advise, assess, assist, and then arrange. And then, you do that. Then next time you come, you do that. So I tell them, okay, next time I'm giving you 2 months. When you come, you are lost from 120 kgs, you should be 110. If you follow this very well. Next time I say, so how far have you done? Don't discourage. Even if you have done 5 out of that, say, like, that is very good. Yes, but you can do better, but that's very good. That's a very good start. Always encourage, motivate, as you encourage them to continue. Train staff, your nurses, to get together your histories, education. That's what we do, like in our lifestyle center. All of even our chef teaches, because he's been trained. Yeah, the physician does it. Our nurse aide does it. Our nurse also do that. So you'll have that everyone who does what? They will be teaching. Even our chaplain. So we make sure that they are reinforcing. Sometimes you say the same thing 3 times differently, it sticks. We understand, Then just one. So develop lifestyle medicine services and community linkages. It's very important to have those community linkages, even as we're working. And that's why we are doing we are a community. We want to have that. And please, for the doctors who are not yet joined Amen, please do. Because that's why we are trying to encourage the training. We are going to talk with Dr. here. Dr. means the doctor. Yeah. Physician. Yeah. So we maybe some of those trainings we're going to incorporate it into, because it's a vibrant body of young doctors and medics everywhere who are focused on finishing the work for God. And so that's why we're going to train them. And this one, I also want to appeal to our brothers because it's been our burden. We started in US, it came here, it has gone to Philippines, it has gone to India, but in Kenya here, we are not yet, we need to reach the whole of East African division. And we want to start from our brothers in Uganda and Ethiopia. That is the low-hanging fruit. So we'll go there, please, starting that medicine, so that we're able to do what? We work together. So that when doing those training models, we are equipped. Because a master cannot use if you are not equipped. So we need to be equipped. And please, equip it now when there's no time for crisis. Remember the foolish virgins? In the time of plenty, they never acquired extra. So please acquire extra oil by getting lifetime medicine so that the master can use you in time of crisis. So document, measure outcomes, and maintain financial viability. That is very important. Documentation is very... Now, the problem we have in Africa is a rich continent, yeah? But the poorest. As one of our brothers said, we are what? We are a wealthy what? Yeah. Yes. And not that because they don't have resources. They have resources, but it's on the ground. And they never get it. So even with this medicine, we have a lot, but we never document, we never publish. And so it's in dark continent. It still remains dark continent. Not that it's because dark in a bad way, just because things are hidden. So please start documenting these things that you are doing, or whatever you are reversing it, and start publishing them. Very important. Yeah. And here we'll connect us to the publishing process, because it's very good networking, so that we can also, yeah, it's very important to do that. And have those, the EMR, electronic medical records, templates, and check boxes. We have electronic health records and electronic medical records. Electronic medical records, you can use it within your facility, but you also have this big system where you can do electronic medical records. Have it. Like for us, it has been our burden, so that you can always share. When you are doing publishing, it's very easy for you when you have the records there and you can be able to monitor any one time. Before a client comes in, you can go to there and check and know the history of the client, and you appear very knowledgeable. Patients like being recognized that you know them. You know them very in detail. So when you have this, you check in even your phone, you're able to know and say like, wow, your HB1C 3 months ago was 12. Let me see now how far is this. It's like, this person knows me. It creates a lot of trust, isn't it? That you know this individual, not that you are a random client. So like, I can't remember, what were you having? No, please have this, yeah? Yeah, so you track this, and it's very important. Use, okay, you use your lifestyle medicine in clinical decision making and safety. So please remember this way. When you are doing when you are seeing your clients, a client has come with a low back pain. First look at what is his BMI. He has sugars are not in. Yeah, how is he doing? What does he have those signs of? So you knew that, and then you say like the underlying problem is this. So you put it into practice, okay? And then apply risk stratified approaches. There are always those approaches. When you have lipid profile is this high, when your weight is this high, the risk of getting stroke is this. You know those indices are there, isn't it? Deal with them with facts. You have 60% you're going to get heart disease. Yeah? And 80% you're going to get this, sure enough. And sure you're going to get it. I cannot, so when you tell them that, they get able to grasp it and see the importance of this. And they're able to be motivated. Sometimes you can't motivate them. Sometimes you have to scare them a little bit. It works still. A little stress, not so much, but a little helps in waking up somebody, isn't it? So monitor closely for hypertension, hypoglycemia, and other changes as lifestyle improves. Don't forget that one, because you are deprescribing. You can do that in a clinical setting. Always be checking your blood pressure. Always be checking your your sugars. Actually, what you do, you give them the booklet. I mean, that's what we do. Give them the booklet for checking the blood pressure morning, afternoon, evening, and then the sugars. So when they come after 1 month, I'm able to check and see the trend. And I'm able to adjust the drugs gradually. So now you stop this one, and you do this one. Time is up. For how many minutes do I have? Okay, thank you. Support clinicians' well-being and communicate the model. Okay? Please remember this way, protect the workers. Sometimes you don't protect the workers, your work won't be done very well. Yeah? Okay? Intentionally apply lifestyle medicine to your own life. You can give a testimony. I like how my wife encourages the clients. When they're having arthritis, he says, I was there. I had arthritis because I was eating meat, and when I stopped, I'm no longer there. I was asthmatic, it almost killed me, but when I stopped the milk, I no longer have it. That's more powerful than even us doctors trying to give all jargon and all, all the medicine that you know. This ones they are seeing, and you mean you had that one? I'm also doing it. And actually so when you live as a physician, as you are an example, you can say, I was there and now I am. Remember, we are going to overcome the enemy, because the last battle is going to be on medicine, isn't it? The last card for the Majesty of Heaven was what? It's going to be to finish the work, isn't it? It's going to be the right arm. So the enemy knows that, and it's going to fight, isn't it? How are we going to overcome the enemy? By the blood of the Lamb and by the... So do you have a testimony to tell about it? I'm not saying this testimony say that, in 1990, I was a bank robber, and then I got saved, and now longer... No, that's not a testimony. We're saying what God has done in your life. And you can say, like, God has done it, He can do it to you. So this is what we want. So, so when you apply it to your own life, it becomes what? And connect with the local communities, for support. So when you have these who have been trained with this lifestyle medicine, you can have that community and you can share the successes and the challenges, and that is very important. And with patients, we always tell them that's part of their medical treatment. And I've seen that has happened in my clinic. Most of the patients say there's this doctor who treats people with food. Well, they're always speaking about it. And you can see line up. Sometimes when I'm trying now to go quickly, they say like, but you're not telling me about food. Then I say, oh, okay. But you are not so badly off. Okay. Then I'm reminded I have to tell, okay, now you do this and this and this. It's like they talk with each other. What they do, I've realized, is that when they are waiting, maybe there's like 20 of them, and there are many, maybe 30 of them, they're discussing. So they are the ones who you already seen them, they're telling others, you see the doctor, he'll treat you with, he's just going to come and tell you what to eat and not to eat, and it works. So they are, by the time you are coming in there, they're expecting it. So put it into practice. By the way, it's very important to do that, and that's how you start doing one. And so they get convinced when you say that now you need to refer you to a lifestyle center, they will understand, isn't it? And hopefully, by the time you come back again, sir, we will have a sanatorium here in, isn't it? So that when the wellness centers are going to be like treatment rooms because they are in the center, we need a place now which is further with a big land and a good place where some of these ones can be sent there, isn't it? Because they can't dig in town here. You manage them, stabilize them, and then they go out there. So that's what we need to be doing. So hopefully when we do that, you will have transitioned very well from what? From being a clinician who is just dealing with the drugs to what God wants you to be. Okay? Do you have any questions up to there? I think my time is up. Do you have any questions, or I have 3 minutes? So 3 minutes only. I have questions. Yes, I can see one. So I want to see how many are asking questions. There's one hand there. Any other? We are going for lunch, so we want to go quickly. Any other questions? There's one. Okay, there's only one question. Either you have not understood, or I'll confuse you more, or you have absorbed everything. So either way, yeah. Okay.
Yes, thank you so much for such a wonderful presentation. You mentioned something about funding. And from my experience, I've been handling patients at home through a home care agency. But you realize that they are paying mostly out of pocket. And it's becoming a challenge. Thank you, you've hinted on it. But then the question is, what are the key action points now before, you know, all the covers and everything can accommodate them?
Thank you so much. You see, we are saying we are dealing with evidence-based, isn't it? When we have our evidence, and you see that we are going to overcome this, the world, with our what? Testimony, isn't it? We can only convince the governments and the industries, the players of industries, if we have the evidence. So one of the things of preparation, even as they're paying now by, isn't it? First, you are recording each and every of the patient that comes to you, have a record of what you've done. One thing it will help us to give you a testimony. When they ask you, this thing works, you just give them the number, talk to this one. He passed it, isn't it? I don't even want to speak anything. You talk to this one, you give them the number. Yeah? He had a condition just like yours, even worse than yours. Now you talk to them. You see, you don't even have to argue, isn't it? And they will just come. Number two, when a time will come when you are pushing this, because you are pushing this things behind the scenes, when they say, show us the evidence. How many people have you said, have you? Because the world knows that you cannot reverse what? Diabetes, hypertension. Once you get it, you are on your way out. Then they will tell you that you have reversed some of these things. What do they tell you? They'll make sense, isn't it? When you go to these industry players, and if they don't do it, we are hoping that because we are told by Adventists we need to stick together, isn't it? We can stick together as professionals and start our own health insurance. Why we having only Adventists? And they pay premiums, but we are not using it. And when you see that we are competing with this, or convince people who are already and Adventists who are running these places and say, you do take this, isn't it? And when they see they are doing very well, they will come to you. Because when people chase the money, isn't it? When they see that I'm saving, they will come. But before then, we have to do something about it, isn't it? This is just a start. The Lord is preparing us. If you stick into this and you do the right thing, as you've been told about this, you will actually win. And you tell somebody, even you say, you talk to this one, even your money is worth it, isn't it? Because you talk to this one, he has said reversed it. And then you tell them, how much are you using for your diabetes medicine? In Kenya here, it's around maybe 30,000. When they are having those polypharmacy, they are around maybe 30,000 per month, 40,000. For Ugandans, that's not little money. Yeah, yeah, it's 12 million. 12 million or 1.2 million or something like that. Yeah, so that's a lot, isn't it? So, so when they hear that, say that, and here, look here, and you're going to do it for the rest of your life. The rest of your life, whatever God has given you. So, how much money that translates to? They'll see the sense. And here you're going for 3 weeks, and you will have what? They'll see the investment sense of it, isn't it? Don't just tell them that this I'm doing it. The other thing which maybe I need to mention about the finances, most of us sometimes we charge too much. Very expensive. It's a mission. As you try to do what? You know, we are doing as a mission, as you don't get anything, but you know what? The soul you are saving. And some of us, by the way, as medical missionaries, we are not Elishas. We have the double spirit of Elijah, you know. We are a Gehazi. You remember that story? Naaman. Elisha was a medical missionary, isn't it? Yes. Naaman came to him with a lot of money. Did he take that money? And who did? Gehazi, the servant. And he wants to get there to be enriched. Yeah? And what happened? He was told that you and your family, it will not leave you. So please remember this way. You might have to have what? God can get you have a leprosy of money, eh? If you are going to use that one to enrich yourself, don't do that. It's just a mission, and let the Lord provide. As you do that, then the Lord will always say your bread and water shall be sure. He will do that. Don't be in a hurry. The Lord is, when things will do that, they'll be rushing to you, and then when you just want, you say it's full. You say, please just create a space for us. They say the suffering ones are going to be plenty, and the spirit of prophecy cannot lie, isn't it? So the work will be plenty. Your bread will be sure. But if you start now like Gehazi, you might not get it. Okay. Any other? Yes, there's one question, yes.
Yeah, my name is Jones Hayeshe. A health coach. What I just want to say is that thank you for the good teachings that you have given unto us. And I've been working with a doctor in Kitale, Dr. Mado. I'm a medical missionary trained by Light Ministry, and I've been doing the work. So I just want to say that when in your lifestyle center, when you have a medical missionary who knows how to treat, use natural remedies, and also maybe teaching about the 8 laws of health, it helps, because in that lifestyle center, I was given a room, and these nurse or doctors, they treat the disease the way you say, and then after that, they give me the patients when the patients are getting better. Then I advise them on nutrition and exercise and all those things. And then they come back to me that we want to see the real doctor. So I just want to thank God, because it happens. And when we join hands together as medical missionaries and physicians, the work God give us the energy to do it powerfully. So I just want to say I'm in Mombasa. At Mazeras, we had an evangelistic campaign, and we invited some medical missionaries there to come on the market. And you know,